Right. Do Dissidents, Jimmy Dore, INN, RBN, the homeless left, Pasta, everybody. Step aside here. We got a new pope, a Chicago pope. And I was rather surprised by this. My mom actually called me from Japan and said, "Kid, this is so fascinating and so incredible. We have somebody from our city as pope. This would never happen in the old days." So I don't know, Matt. How did you feel when you first got the news that we actually have an American pope?
Well, it was interesting because when this story was breaking yesterday, we were preparing for the Homeless Love show, which because we do Thursdays. This was just a few hours before we went live, and I was seeing some reports that I guess were incorrect, but that because we knew that Rabbi Shmuley was pushing the other cardinal, Parolin, and that was going to be a disaster if that happened. And it seemed I saw some misreporting that he was the one that had gotten anointed yesterday, and then when we found out. It was not. It was actually Prevost from Chicago, first American pope. There was a sigh of relief. I have to say, I go, oh, thank God it wasn't the Zionist guy. But I think overall, like my first impression is it feels like, and it's funny. It's Chicago is what we're talking about, and being here on the show with you today is interesting timing. I would say it reminds me of the feeling. It's a feeling. It feels good, but it's what does it matter other than we still have to deal with. What is the Catholic Church representing? What are they not taking a stance on? We have to look at the war stance. We have to look at it. What is he going to do moving forward? These are the same questions we have every time. So it's a nice sensation. It's a great feeling. But overall, I don't know if we know enough yet about the guy. Although I do appreciate his humanitarian work in Peru. We just have to look a little closer. But yeah, obviously let's celebrate. But then it's time to get serious and start looking at what's actually being done, as far as what he's representing moving forward.
Right. And look, I want to just point this out here because there's a lot of fun here. I had a couple of people, Jimmy Dore, Keaton, and I had Larry Sharp also reach out and say, "Hey, Chicago's got a new pope now." So which is fun. It's fun, and also I guess hey, there's going to be anything that's not Chicago style pizza. Guess what? You got to give a tribute to Rome. But let's look a little bit onto the background of who Pope Leo XIV is. Okay, so about 1.4 billion Catholics worldwide have a new spiritual leader, Pope Leo XIV. The election of Robert Francis Prevost, who chose the name Leo XIV as the 267th leader of the Roman Catholic Church, marks two historic firsts. Leo is the first ever born pope to lead the church and the first pope from the Augustinian Order. So on Thursday, the new pope appeared on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica and delivered a short speech. His opening words were, "Peace be with all of you." The 69-year-old pontiff added that he wanted his message of peace to enter your hearts, reach your families, and all people wherever they are. During his address, he spoke in Italian, Spanish, and Latin. The new pope thanked his fellow cardinals for selecting him. He also expressed gratitude to his former diocese in Peru and spoke warmly of Pope Francis, whom he was a confidant of, his late predecessor, before ending his remarks with a prayer. So social media sheds new light on him. Of course, here's the thing. He is from Chicago. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Chicago. So born in the city of Chicago in 1955, according to Vatican News, his father is a French and Italian descent, while his mother is of Spanish descent. Leo studied at the minor seminary of the Augustinian Fathers. He went on to attend Villanova University in Pennsylvania, where he received a degree in mathematics. He later pursued his theological education at Catholic Theological Union in Chicago. Although the new pontiff is an American one of the most significant chapters of his ministry took place in Peru. He served there for roughly 2 decades. He was appointed as bishop in, I think I'm going to say this name wrong, Chiclayo in 2014, promoted archbishop in 2023, and then cardinal in the following year. Over the course of his career, he also taught canon law, practices, I said that wrong, and moral law. I said that wrong. I'm so sorry. Reverend Robert Hagen, prior provincial of the province of St. Thomas of Villanova, told NPR All Things Considered that he was a student when he met the Pope Leo over dinner. Hagen said back then he could tell that Leo embodied the core value of the Augustinian Fathers, friendship. Okay, well, that's what happened. So here's the thing. Here was the breaking news. But Matt, before we get started, I want to add in your commentary. Go ahead. Your thoughts.
Well, yeah, I mean, back to this whole, what is he, how does Chicagoans feel about this as far as, getting over, once the excitement runs out,
Mhm.
I'm looking at, like, we've been through this before, right? Like
Yep.
one of your viewers asked about, asked your last guest about what will he do? What will this new Pope do for Chicago? I'm thinking, what did Obama do for Chicago? What did, Rahm Emanuel do for Chicago? I'm saying, like, once you get on a national, in this case, an international stage, what do you mean? It seems like, it's a nice label. It's a nice little, a badge of honor. But at the end of the day, we're still going to have to look at the entire, the Vatican and the influence on the global population. And even with the humanitarian work aside, I want to know where these other issues he stands on. I want to know what type of influence he can have on the war machine, on the Israel-U.S. Western imperialism war machine around the globe. And what needs to be said about those things? It's very important. But yeah, I think that his alignment with Pope Francis is great, because Francis was great. But there's also elements where you look at his trajectory and say he was late. Francis was late to the table on the genocide. He was late to the table on a lot of things. A lot of stuff he didn't come around with at all. And I think ultimately the conversation we need to be having about the Catholic Church is, because of the massive influence, billions of people, you could make the argument the Pope has more influence as a single person on the entire planet than anybody else on the planet. So the words that come out of their mouth is very important. And when you don't take a stance for humanity, and you stay quiet at the wrong time, that could be very detrimental. So I'm not, I'm optimistic, but at the same time, very skeptical about what's going to happen moving forward here. But yeah, make no mistake, there's nothing special is going to be happening for your city of Chicago. I hate to burst anyone's bubble on that one.
No, nothing's gonna happen for Chicago unless he wants to make a visit.
We don't know that. Yes. And I want to put an exclamation point on that, because we have to leave open the possibility of surprise. But should it be Cardinal Parolin? Sure.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Now we know. Now we're in that moment.
I'm going to have the Monsignor explain what we're going to hear right now. A new pontiff about to be announced.
We are going to see Cardinal Momberti, a French cardinal, come out and say to us, I announce to you great news, good news, Habemus Papam.
Annuncio vobis gaudium magnum. Habemus Papam. Eminentissimum, ac reverendissimum Dominum, Dominum Robertum Franciscum, Sancte Romane Ecclesiae, Cardinalem Prevost, qui sibi nomen imposuit Leonem XIV.
This is stunning. It is an American, Monsignor.
Again, a great surprise. An American, the prefect of the Congregation of Bishops, who born in Chicago, an Augustinian from a religious order, but moved to Peru as a missionary, and an amazing surprise for the church and the world.
Shocker.
A moderate.
Stunning moment, because of course it used to be said for 2 centuries that the idea of an American Pope is unthinkable. And here we have an American successor of Peter.
I am absolutely stunned. Never thought an
Prevost,
American would be Pope.
a dark horse, would be the first American-born Pope. And while he was born in Chicago, he was a missionary. He spent a lot of time in Peru. This will be a continuation of the pastoral approach of Pope Francis, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, we will see what he brings to it.
Now we will see. So people have been asking, what's the Augustinian Order? The Augustinian Order is an order of Saint Augustine. Is a religious order of the Catholic Church, founded in 1244. It was formed by uniting several groups of hermits following the rule of St. Augustine. Augustinians are known for their commitment to community service and the teachings of St. Augustine. So it's always about, friendship and peace. And of course, one of the famous figures, Martin Luther, the famous figure of the Protestant Reformation, was an Augustinian friar before his theological reform. So see, there you go. So that is some news here. But you did ask Matt about his stance in Gaza and everything else. So where does he stand on this? Well, he has basically went out to state that he is calling for a world of peace and justice and building bridges. But this is only day one. Now, he was a close confidant to the previous pope. However, as we all know, the Vatican, at least according to history, has exercised neutrality in wars for a century, and the Pope is barred from mediating global conflicts unless requested by warring parties. So I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. But go ahead, Matt.
Well, look at that. Look, so Pope Francis, as we come to find at the end, the last few months of his life, he started engaging in the genocide in Gaza by making daily phone calls to the Christian church there and talking directly to people on the ground in Gaza. He said out loud near the end that Israel was conducting acts of terror on the Palestinians. I mean, that's unheard of. Like you were saying, I mean, this generally you can't really say that a pope's going to take an active role. They can say generalities like Bernieisms and AOCisms. You can say, oh, we want everyone to be in peace, but not actually do anything about it. In this case, I hope that he can piggyback off of Pope Francis if they were that close, and he can continue using language like that, because at some point the world's going to have to acknowledge that the acts of terror being committed are by the U.S., the Western war machine, through Israel and to all their neighboring countries, specifically the genocide being done in Gaza. So we hope that he can continue off of that language. Craig Passa was on with us yesterday. He was harder on Pope Francis, said, hey, that guy took too long to start talking about that. Why wasn't he doing it when it first happened? Why did he wait till he was on his deathbed? And that's a great point too. But I'm saying, like, I think just the idea that a pope's going to actively start engaging and making phone calls like this to the people that are being annihilated in real time, that's a big deal. So I hope that this new pope can do that, can continue that, and know that you have so much influence on the world. Just the things you say. I mean, it's unbelievable. So that language is important. Language is important, even if they can't, participate politically. You can pick up a phone and make a phone call.
Right. I hear you on that one. And as far as I'm concerned, we have a problem, with people like not responding right away. And look, no excuse. I mean, I could understand, the sensitivity of the situation, because people would want, somebody to say something sooner, especially what's happening in Gaza. And I do hope that this Pope is able to address not only what's happening in Gaza, but Ukraine. God forbid the crisis between India and Pakistan escalate even further, because they are both nuclear powers and they have a long sad history of fighting each other, blowing each other up. And, I could just see the hungry eyes of the military industrial complex flying over. And I do hope that this new pope is able to at least put on the pressures and raise the flag of peace. And he's from Chicago, so I want to give him the Chicago leeway as much as I can, but at the end of the day, it's either you fight for peace, you fight for understanding and tolerance, or you don't. And I hope that that this new pope is able to maybe push the initiative of peace further. But the memes are glorious. But guys, Chicago wins again. Chicago wins again. All right. Go ahead, Matt.
I want to add in one last thing about the Catholic Church influence and the COVID issue. I mean, I know we're on YouTube and stuff, but I'm just reporting that the Catholic Church took a big stance on COVID and getting the what, and the mandating of it was very influential on the globe. That a lot of people could not get religious exemptions because the Pope came out, Francis, and said, you have to do this. It's your duty as a human being to get this experimental thing. And three of them. And the Catholic Church took an active stance in that very publicly. So you got to do this. And it made it very difficult for people that said, I don't want to do this because the Pope said, you must do this. Then all of a sudden, after the third one, the Catholic Church went silent, completely silent, never once followed up on it. And I was hoping that Francis on his deathbed would have a moment of clarity about that. He never did. He never opened his mouth about it again. And then you left all these people hanging. You were mandating this thing on billions of people. And now you have nothing to say. So again, we talk about the war machine. We talk about doing the right thing, picking up the phone. I think we're further away on this issue, but what are the people are hanging on every word of this guy? I mean, you see the hundreds and thousands and millions of people tuning into this moment yesterday. Are they going to be listening and hoping that something gets said by this church? He's the spokesman now. This is our new spokesman of this church with this massive influence. I hope something comes up about this, because if they put us through this thing again, where is the Catholic Church going to be on this? And again, the influence, it's you have a responsibility. It's on your shoulders. And so I'm not holding my breath for this, but I just wanted to point that out. And we have to remember this and not forget it and know the order that things happened and that people were abandoned. So I don't know if we'll ever get a follow-up on that, but I just wanted to throw that out for your viewers in case they didn't know that happened. And right. People's lives were affected. People's lives were affected by one person, and whether they say something or keep their mouth shut about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely indeed. So people got to speak out. It's a good note to end it on, Matt.